Welcome, welcome, welcome. Welcome, one and all. Well, we're going to try and just make things a little bit relaxing, kind of dim the lights a little bit, and just chill. It's Sunday, so let's just chill. Let's just relax. Hope everyone's doing okay on this Sunday. We're just still here to chill out and relax for a little bit. Drop the lighting in the shop a little bit. Have some coffee. Bitter coffee for bitter people. And I assume that eventually a few of you might arrive just to enjoy the quiet, have a chat, talk about projects that I've got going on, and projects you might want to see, or just chat in general for all of those who are just hanging out online on a Sunday and want to, just talk. Well, that's what I'm here for. So, if that's what you're here for, you're in the right spot. So, I put out a few things that this was a gift for one of my Father's Day gifts. And this was something I made from Arduino. So, just something cool, And try my best to keep an eye on chat. So I do have myself like right here, but there's a delay, so it shows the delay, which is kind of funny. Okay, so now I can see chat, which makes things easier for me. So, hi James, how you doing? Welcome to the chat, and we're just gonna talk about whatever you want. And if you've explored my channel at all, and if you have any questions on any projects, or if you just want to talk in general, if you need someone to talk to, I'm the guy. Hello, General Price. Welcome. Welcome. Hope you're doing well. Just wanted to, like I stated before, give people a chance to come in and have a seat and just chill out. A little bit of coffee, a little bit of conversation. See how all of you are doing out there in the land of the real. And talk about whatever you want. Whether it be projects, whether it be engineering, whether it be what I'm doing, whatever you're doing. Just let it out. Buck, how's it going? Leno Leggy. Lenny Lego. Messed that one up. James, yes, I'm totally fine. I'm totally good. I'm here just to kind of talk about what I am doing, or just be here for someone who wants to talk about anything else. Yeah, I'm fine. You just get reminded, I've noticed, you just get reminded of mortality suddenly a lot. And it's just a random. I'm not going to mention any names, but a friend of mine, a close friend of mine, that I've known pretty much most of my life, his wife passed a few days ago, suddenly. And I've been thinking about him and his wife, and I was thankful that she was very much in love with the Lord, and that she, you know, is in a much better place now than here. We should all be so lucky. But that's because society has decided to squander what it's been given. So that's what's on my mind. So yeah, I'm fine. I feel really bad for him. I feel really bad for his kids, and I just I've seen a lot of death in my time, and I've died a few times myself. But when somebody that close to you goes that quick, it's not something you get over quickly, and it's not something you get over really ever. But I had to remind him, just remember that her existence here in this world is all in your memories. Because sometimes people get to a bad spot where they think they lose a loved one like that, and they go, they say that I want to join them or something like that. And I just remember what you believe in your faith. That's that final act of doing something, committing any kind of self-harm, is a sin that is something you cannot ask for forgiveness for. It would separate you from your loved one. So you have to remember that and carry on. And that's endure to the end, as Christ commanded. And everyone asks, well, why does... I always see these reels about how, you've got these people with septum piercings and, basically, just think of a barista. Just think of your standard male barista. And pretty much they come out and they say, well, why does God do this? If I was God, I would make sure this and that and the other. And I'm like, you know what? God created a perfect world, and we brought the sin into it by our will, by our choice. So everyone says, oh, God is unfair. It's like, well, he gave you a choice. He gave you a choice. You can choose right or you can choose wrong. And then, well, if he's God, why did he let wrong into the world? Why does he let evil into the world? How else would you know good if you had no contrast? God knew what he was doing. And for anyone to question otherwise is foolish. So these kind of things happen when they happen suddenly, and then it reminds you. It's like, look, this is as real as it gets, okay? You got people running around screaming flat earth, they're in a simulation. It's like, get your head out of your ass, okay? It's just that simple. You don't want to believe God created the earth. The demons that you're Ouija boarding to get your questions answered, they believe in him. So you're a fool if you don't believe in God. That's all there is to it. And but my compassion is with you, because who wants to see another soul lost? This is your one chance to get it right. Right here and right now. And that's what Christ is for. So if you don't believe me, if you don't care, if you hate this kind of stuff, if people label me fascist, because they typically will, and then that's your opinion. But your opinion isn't going to save your soul. Especially if your opinion's of me. You don't like me, I don't care. Troll away. Doesn't bother me a bit. I've been shot, stabbed, electrocuted, dead twice, and in a war. So whatever you got, man, you can throw it at me. Ain't gonna touch me. That's all there is to it. So, gosh, not to mention I've been electrocuted so many times. It's amazing I'm still alive. I'm currently trying to figure out my milliamp hours because I have absorbed a lot of electricity over the years. At this point, I could get struck by lightning and then just have a drink afterwards. Well, James, sorry to hear about your brother. Everybody deals with loss. It's how you deal with that loss that matters. Because you can't take your memories of that person out of the world intentionally, because then you're robbing them of what good they did have that you could share with others. So you got to remember that. People lose a lot and they think that the only way out is to, what's the term I'm supposed to use? Unalive themselves. And that's not something you ever want to do. There's always someone to talk to. There's always support. There's always family. And if you're alone and don't have either of those, find somebody. There are people out there with compassion. Not many nowadays, but you'll find one. So, just walk in, toss trash in the can. That's okay. I am in the garage. This is where everything, okay, if anybody is married, you know very well that your garage is full of not the car or your tools, but empty Amazon boxes from your wife's or significant others. Endless and relentless tirade of ordering. So when they say they're going to go to bed early, you're going to get an email that says, thank you for your order. That's all there is to it. So I put the cardboard to use. I use it for all kinds of stuff, like building stuff to paint in or using it to start a fire out in the backyard. Not like a random fire, like actually like a, one of those family kind of campfire kind of thing deals that they have. I keep hitting the table. Sorry about that. But yeah, you got to find uses for those boxes. I'm 49 years old, and if I got enough cardboard, I'm making a fort. I am making a fort, and if you don't have the password, you're not getting in. That's all there is to it. You gotta stay young, right here, and that's the key. That's the key to happiness. What was interesting is I was reading. My wife and I were both reading actually a verse, and she was talking about that during the tribulation, there's going to be 30 minutes, a 30-minute pause, because God just has to, basically, it's so unbearable that he has to stop for half an hour. And what's interesting about that is you would ask yourself, well, he's God. He already knows how it's all going to happen. He knew it was going to happen from the beginning. He knows what's going to happen now. But you have to look at it. If you have to go through something hard, if it's pre-planned, like a surgery or a rehab or whatever, and you grasp for that pause right before the pain or in the midst of it, but then you have to continue on. So that's what you do. So God was trying to show us something even in the tribulation, even though he knew about everything that's going to happen. is trying to show us hope. Because hope is something you have when you know that nothing can be done, but you're still holding on to that possibility that it can be different. And that's hope. God was trying to show us hope, even in the midst of the tribulation to come. Because it's amazing to me that in the Bible you can go through, 7 years of tribulation where God has shown his face and all of the wicked are being punished, and some will actually come to Christ during that time period. So there is a second, there's like literally a third chance. I mean, think about it. If you're asking yourself, why is God giving people second chances? How many did he give the Israelites? I mean, that's pretty much your answer right there. He doesn't want to give up on us. But ADHD moment. I forgot where I was going. So we'll go off on another subject. you have to remember that he gives you chances. And it's during that tribulation, I know I meant, that people will come to see God's face and actually have the proof. The people who didn't believe or don't want to believe or think that there might be a God, and then find out during the tribulation that that there is a God, and they still deny that. So that, can you imagine seeing the Creator himself and then knowing what's going on, and still, because of the desire of your own flesh or your own arrogance, that you still deny that Creator? Yet they're talking about, oh yeah, it'd be great if the Palladians showed up and dropped down on their ships. They want to enlighten us. Really? Because the only thing that they've managed to do so far is crash into a planet. I don't think I trust anyone that's stupid. We've discovered light speed. We just haven't figured out how to stop. Sorry. I mean, come on. How much? I mean, so they got here. Big deal. And may have crashed. I don't really believe in aliens, but this is the story. The crash in the desert. Roswell, all that other stuff. They have the alien bodies. And I'm thinking to myself, why are we so determined to find a species that somehow made it from wherever they're from to here, and you hit a planet? Okay, if you're flying this interstellar craft that can maneuver so quickly, like we've seen in all the videos, up, down, sideways, back and forth, with G-forces that would kill a human being, but you hit a planet. A planet! How smart are they? Yeah, they were drunk. It wasn't aliens. It was aliens. It was just the teenagers. They stole the hoopty and they went out for into the galaxy for a ride. They made a wrong turn, ended up in the wrong neighborhood. You don't roll by Earth without rolling up the windows, right? And then they lost control of the vehicle and then careened into the Earth, and that's how it was. And on their planet, the news agencies, that's what they're posting. But they're posting fake news, like something else happened to them. Oh my gosh. I feel so sorry for people who do believe in aliens. Or those reels you see with the people who are like, I'm a Palladian, or I do remote viewing. You know what remote viewing is? I'm on the couch, here's a remote, I'm viewing. That's the only remote viewing you're getting, okay? Because these old people that, I know the Galactic Federation. You think you could come up with a better name than that? Oh, I'm sorry, Gene. What was it, Gene Roddenberry? I guess he already took Starfleet, so you couldn't use that one. Galactic Federation. Do you know how dumb that sounds? I mean, make up something better, That's what I find funny. Because I don't think there are aliens. I think just like on this world, we have creatures that are sentient, non-sentient in the aspect of being self-aware. Because people will look at a dog and go, "That dog's self-aware." No, it's not self-aware. It acts solely on instinct. All that it's programmed to do with as complex as organic programming is, in the aspect of the fact that we are basically huge flesh avatars that we're currently residing in. So if you take that into consideration, yes, the animal is complex. Does it have emotion? Yeah, it has fear. It has the care of its young, so on and so forth. But everyone says that. They're like, oh, they're self-aware. They're self-aware. No, they're not self-aware. You're self-aware. You know why you're self-aware? Because you're holding that existential crisis rectangle and watching me right now. The dogs act off of instinct. Okay? If the dog was self-aware, then my husky would know that he's neutered and wouldn't try to hump Vivian, which is the other husky. So, if he was self-aware, he wouldn't be doing that, would he? He's acting on instinct. All creatures do besides humans. I mean, what natural defense mechanism are humans born with? Because most creatures, if not all creatures, on Earth besides humans, are built with a natural defense mechanism. Whether it be claws, whether it be poison, whether it be the porcupine's quills. Basically, every creature. The octopus can shield itself and blend in with its environment. The shark, which is basically, a killer. That's its defense mechanism. It's just, what natural defense mechanism does a human being have? We don't have sharp teeth. We don't have claws. We can't run very fast. We can barely climb anything, at least nowadays. What is our natural defense mechanism? Let's see. Okay, let me catch up on the chat here real quick. I don't want to miss any questions. Well, unexplained aerial phenomenon can happen if a small rock creates plasma in the atmosphere. There was a video over the Dome of the Rock where a light came straight down. I don't know how real that video was, and then it hovered for a little while and then took off. Okay, that I don't know what that was. That could have been just an angel, for all we know. It's not as if you know exactly what they look like. So you have an explanation from people who have seen them from a time where they didn't understand as much as we do now. And even though we understand as much as we do now, we still can't explain what they saw, even by their depiction. We try to relate it to something that we are familiar with, and you can't do that. You can't do that. You can't put what the universe is as a explanation for what you've seen if it's not from this realm. Okay, it's just that simple. Okay. Creation, thoughts, ideas. It's real simple. I watched a reel that Neil deGrasse Tyson put out. He said that took this so many billions of years for the universe to be formed, and I laughed at it because he goes, it didn't take 6 days. Now, first off, in the Bible, God does not specifically say what one of his days are. He says, no man shall live but one of my days. But this was back in a time when people lived 1,000 years. So basically, if you think about it, man wasn't created until after everything else was created. And our perception of our reality is relative. Time is relative. So whatever may or may not have taken place according to your beliefs, the creation of the universe, who's to say that since the only conscious entity was God in that time before man existed on the earth, who's to say how that time passed? You weren't conscious. You didn't exist yet. Mankind didn't exist yet. So they couldn't perceive time the way God perceived time. They perceived time the way they were meant to within the constructs of the creation we were given. So this 4.5 billion years, you weren't even aware of. Okay, so that's the first misconception of people saying, well, it took this long, we see that, but it was created in 6 days. You're not reading it right. You're not comprehending it right if you believe that. And you're not understanding that you weren't consciously aware. And Neil deGrasse Tyson himself proves this by showing us the photon through the slits example. How a particle changes what its behavior is on depending on whether it's observed or not. So you're proving right now that until your consciousness existed, every particle in the universe could do whatever it wanted as fast as it wanted at the will of its creator. And then you were created. And then your perception of time became your reality. It's not the universe's reality, and it's definitely not the creator's reality. It's yours. So now you're locked in. You have to experience time at one specific pace that doesn't change. But proof that we're more than what we are physically is your consciousness drifting. A watched pot never boils. But what happens when you're not paying attention? A dream that lasts for hours, but you were only asleep for a few minutes. These are prime examples that you are more than just what you seem to be in the mirror. So, as far as Neil deGrasse Tyson's explanation of how the universe was created in 6 days, he's just taking words. It's wordplay. That's all it is. He doesn't understand because he doesn't have any faith. Because he's based his beliefs on science, what's tangible. And if you have something that is tangible, it doesn't require a lot of faith, does it? So he's a man with no faith. I don't know why people choose to believe in a book that was written by a man named Darwin or his theories and a few hundred years ago, as opposed to a creator who created all things, and there were several witnesses that wrote everything down. That's over 2,000 years old. You know, so if we're going to go that route, then the most obvious answer has to be the truth, right? Objective, correct. And that's what I mean by your perception of reality and how time goes. It doesn't matter how you perceive time. It's always going to be at a certain pace in this existence. That's all there is to it. But your perception of it, depending on how you're perceiving it, can change. You can stretch out because you know you've had those days that will feel like they last forever, and then some that go by too fast. That's strictly based on your emotional state, which is another proof in itself, that you are not just your physical being. And that's because what happens when you have an emotion? Your body malfunctions. What practical purpose, through pain or joy, brings forth crying? Your body's reacting to an emotion that it doesn't understand, so it malfunctions. What's the purpose of crying when you're in pain? The tears, it's a malfunction. It's your body not understanding the emotion and trying to cope with how to deal with it. And that shows in itself that it's from that emotion comes from who you are, which is inherently not bound to this time by itself. You are bound here to this body, which is bound by time. So that's why you're told to endure to the end. Yeah, I agree with that. That time does not actually exist. It's a human construct. We basically, time is a measured portion of reality, to quote um, Stephen Glick in a book that he wrote about time travel. Time is just a measured portion of reality. It's how we quantify where we are and what we're seeing. Because what's time based on? It's based on our perception of what happens around us in our environment. The sun rises, the sun sets, so on and so forth. The world spins. And we have to put a measurement on there. A second, a millisecond, even smaller than that. All the way down, at decisecond. I mean, you go as far down as you want. There is never going to be a measurement that can divide up the moments in time accurately. Because it isn't digital, it's more analog than anything. Buck, I have no idea what that means. The universe was created by sentient. I assume you mean godly entity or good nodly. I don't know what noodly entity means. The flying spaghetti monster who created it while intoxicated. Funny. That is funny. Everyone's entitled to their opinion. You can all have your opinions. That's the thing about free will. You can believe or not believe in whatever you want. The consequences are still the same. Okay. Yes, anything is possible. You're all gazoon tight, and I had this urge to sneeze. Mainly because I have allergies right now, and huskies, and they're shedding. So I didn't plan that one out very well. Oh. I'd like to take this chance to say hi to everyone that I may have missed as they came into the chat. I apologize if I didn't see your question. I will go back and look. And yes, anything is possible. Of course it is. I mean, if you just look at the 340 millimeter turbine, English, turbine that I'm printing right now, yeah, anything's possible. Especially if something goes wrong. But, I mean, we're talking, the fan's heavy. The fan is heavy. I mean, it's 3D printed. Solid infill, yeah. PETG, yeah. But I had to, because I needed the rigidity of the fan and the way the blades locked into place in order for the turbine to work properly and and find a safe RPM where it doesn't fly apart. No, my name is not Doug. Thank you. May I ask why you would ask that? Did you know a Doug? I'm flying a lot of stuff. There's a plane behind me right here. I've been working on 90 millimeter EDF, totally 3D printed. Ow, rotator cuff. But yeah, that was a 90 millimeter EDF. It's sort of a water lander and a land lander. With as silly as that sounds. After that, I am flying a drone, much like the Shrike concept drone that I have on my playlist. And I said Shrike concept drone, YouTube, for crying out loud. And that was an experiment in EDF drones, because I needed to understand how EDFs and worked with the flight controllers I was working with, and getting all those factors in that I needed to understand about INAV and gyro filtering, things like that, which are remarkably different when it comes to EDFs as opposed to standard propellers. All for a larger project, which basically includes this 340 millimeter 22 blade high pass fan. And we're still printing parts for it. I'm printing the stator casing for the bearing hub right now. Half of it's done over there, but I'm waiting for some more filament tomorrow because I am blowing through the filament on this thing. This will be run by a 60 horsepower 7070 flip sky motor, which the collet bolts right here that spins the shaft. I have 40 millimeter bore bearings and they're 52 outer, 7 inches high, so I'm stacking 4 of them on that. And then I am going to put together a front hub that will hold a bearing here so I don't have a lot of wobble. So it's held pretty straight within the stator casing and the fan casing, which will be attached to the front hub casing. And that is going to have an integrated RPM sensor in it that I was building on Arduino yesterday. You'll see it in the shorts if you go check it out. That's a big fan, though. To say something cheesy, it's my biggest fan. So what I'm building with that is a massive drone. I mean, you think Jersey had UFO sightings. Wait till I'm done. I'm going to put a really big, powerful spotlight on it, too. Fly over somebody and then shine the spotlight down on them while they're walking down the street. Man looks up, drops his briefcase. He's like, what's going on? Am I being abducted? Oh, that'd just be funny. That'd just be too funny. Yeah, that's my biggest fan. I always like to say that because if you look at my channel, if you look at the playlists, if you check out the videos, I'm constantly getting these comments about how like the channel's underrated and I should be getting a lot more of this and that and the other. But it all comes down to the morality of the people watching it, doesn't it? Dare I say the intellect? Because most people who are interested in the science or interested in the hobby, because I mean, can you imagine an FPV drone the size of your Smart 4.2 or a quad, like an off-road quad? I mean, and I'm using EDF. I'm using a 22 blade high pass fan, and everyone's like, that's not going to be efficient. That's going to draw too many amps. I don't care. That's going to be cool. Like you're standing out, if you're standing out watering your lawn, something like that, and you see a drone with 340 millimeter high pass EDFs zip by your house, and it makes the coolest sound you've ever heard in your life. I mean, that's what it's about right there. It don't have to be practical. I'm experimenting with different types of propulsion, some of which I can't put on the internet. Um, Eventually, you'll see the byproducts of those, but it's just some that I won't put out. I'm not going to, and I know, and you know why. Okay, and all the three-letter agencies that just entered the chat know why. So yeah, I've discovered a few things, and I'm on the verge of understanding them to their fullest extent. And you'll see the byproduct. Not now, but you will. And when I work in that shop, there are no devices with cameras. There are no phones allowed. There's nothing that goes in there. You are in a Faraday cage, plain and simple. And we're just gonna leave it at that. Because yeah, don't want the three-letter agencies we were talking about to come along and take that little purple heart-stopping medication and just go boop into my coffee while I'm not looking. And no, all of you three-letter agencies, you won't find where I'm working on what I'm working on. Because I don't go with anything that you can track when I go out there. Let me catch up on the chat here. This is just tobacco. Wish it was that Captain Black Gold, but it's just standard Red River at this point. I am a fairly poor individual. As far as cash goes, that kind of thing. Mainly because I'm on vet benefits, so everything I do is pretty much like either financed by my brother getting credit for the Bamboo Lab X1 carbon that I'm using for the printing. He buys the bearings and parts and motors and stuff, and then anybody who donates on any of my links, like either my Patreon or my Buy Me a Coffee link or whatever, all that gets funneled back into the same account so that I can continue the work. So, because I'm on vet benefits, so that's covers my life expenses barely. No more eggs, but it is what it is. So anything I get goes back into this. Mainly because you would think to yourself, well, why wouldn't you want, most YouTubers out there are making a lot of money off of ad revenue or whatever sources they are, or sponsors. They're living it up, buying, expensive houses and expensive cars, and just like you see them up there sometimes just trying to be cool, waving around bills. Just, that wouldn't be what I would do. What I would need is a bigger shop, more equipment, so I can do bigger things. So what I was talking about earlier can grow, but you haven't seen yet. Because it's small at this point, but it works. basically the idea is, this is my hobby. This is my passion. It isn't fast cars. It isn't a huge mansion. I'm a simple guy. You know, when I do buy something though, I do want quality. I want to make sure that it's good quality, not Timu. You know. So yeah, it's just anything I get goes right back into this, and that's to create the content for you guys, and then eventually the big reveal of a larger project, which I may have to set forth some legalities first before I do. Kind of like that. Here, guys, here's some proof of this. So if something happens to me, you can tell the world. You know. Yeah, but yeah, the tobacco is a standard, regular, smooth pipe tobacco. Red River. I wish I could. Like I said, I love having a good aromatic tobacco because I don't try not to inhale it as much, because this was my answer to stopping cigarettes completely, because I wanted to stop. So this is more of a relaxing thing for me to do that I don't do as much as I did when I smoked cigarettes. See, just the aroma in the nose, a little bit goes down the lung, nothing bad. Definitely a lot healthier in the lungs since I stopped the cigarettes, that's for sure. So, I imagine my 3 viewers are probably getting bored. It's Sunday. Where are you now? Church is out if you went, so why aren't you on my channel? No, the sad truth of it is, nowadays, it's going to be hard to inspire the youth to do something with what they have available, because they don't want to stop and look at the science. They don't want to stop and look at what I'm doing and go, I want to do something like that, and then be inspired by that and go into some kind of engineering field that benefits humanity in the future. We're talking about these people are going to be the leaders of our nation, you know, in a couple of decades. And most of them are interested in basically watching girls react to videos on YouTube that you've already seen. And I don't know, man. Or people doing dumb stuff. Or people filming accidents, and then like, I don't even know why YouTube even allows that. They have strict policies on violence and things like that, but it's totally fine to air, you know, somebody getting into a 25 car pileup. I don't get it. Or missing their skateboard jump and, you know, landing on a parking pole or something like that. I don't understand that. I don't understand why that's totally fine. I know we don't want air violence. YouTube doesn't support violence of any kind. We just allow you to film it and show it to everybody. So, you know, whatever. I'm trying to monetize myself for the purpose of continuing to fund all of this. I even talked to Bamboo Labs. I was like, look, I'm doing everything exclusively on your equipment. Why don't you give me something else like the new one that you just came out with? And I'll use that, and I'll put it through its paces, and I'll guarantee you, if that new H2D printer can do all the stuff it says it can do, I'm going to find its limits. I'm going to find its limits, and I'm going to tell you whether or not you can use it for everything you want to do. I guess it depends specifically on whatever you want to do, but I don't know. They haven't sent me one. I'm sad because they haven't sent me one so that I can put it through its paces. Because I've got over 3,000 hours on the other printer. And I was impressed because I've only changed the hot end twice. And I've only had one extruder clog, and that was my fault because I set the temperature wrong for a support filament, a dissolvable support filament, and that kind of clogged things up. So yeah, that was when I was learning how to use all of it. Hey, what's going on, Mr. Blue? Welcome. We're just here to chat, talk about things, talk about my projects, talk about whatever you want to talk about. Why people believe in aliens when they somehow can't miss a planet. So yeah, you can just, whatever you want to talk about. But what I was referring to was the printer that I'm using, which is a good printer. Don't get me wrong, I love the printer. But you can't sell me a printer and then come out with another one a year later and not give it to me. It's not right. Because I like the printer. I don't have the bed level anymore. That in itself is just glorious. The extrusion calibration, which makes, you don't have to worry about the extrusion multiplier now because it's doing its own calibration. And it's like, you put something on that plate, you print it, it's going to print. Hands down. Unless it's ASA Aero. Bamboo Lab, I'm sorry, I'm not giving you that one. But again, like I've said, you did redeem yourself with the AMS TPU. That's a remarkable material. So, yeah. Well, the ASA Aero was probably a big mistake, and please don't fire the person who came up with it. They were just trying to help. Yeah. I encourage you, Bamboo Lab, and I hope somebody shares this with them. I encourage you to send me an H2D, and we'll see if it stands up to what I'm going to put it through. Because I'm going to put it through the paces. If you say it can do this, 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 and this, I'm going to make sure it does all that continuously. And we're going to see how reliable it is, if they ever send me one. I know they've sent them to the bigger YouTubers, out there that are friendly, and they're just talking about the printer. They're just showing it. They're just like, it can do this, it can do that, it can do this, but they're not doing big projects. They're not doing like massive projects. And I'm going to. So we're going to see what it can do. If I end up having to buy it myself, I will. That would take a while. And then they'd probably come out with the H3D or something like that. That would make me angry. I just got your H2D. Yeah, the A1 is nice. Yeah, you can use the app and send it. It really just depends. You just go, I want strength, quality, or whatever, and you just send. You can do it right on your phone. Now, for me, it's a little different because I'm actually designing the STLs as I'm sending out from Fusion 360. I'm designing the entire process. I basically am designing a 3D printed jet engine, I guess. The easiest way to put it is it's a turbine. And it uses a 22 blade high pass, and it's gone from the 170 millimeter, which I'm still going to use, which the irony is it uses the same motor, to the 340 millimeter fan that I have. That one's already, like I said, been completely printed. I'm in the middle of doing the hub bearing and stator casing, first stator. And then I'll do the fan casing, and then after that I'll have a bearing hub in the beginning of that in front of the fan, which also supports the front of the fan, because I don't want it to rely on just the 4 bearings that I have at the main shaft, because I don't want it to tilt. So yeah, even though it's a big fan and it probably wouldn't, and the tolerances I've made are fairly tight tolerances, so it would fit perfectly. I still want that added protection in the front of just having a cross member that goes across, because it holds the bearing for the front hub, and it also gives me the opportunity to implement my RPM sensor, which is going to be mounted directly there. I want the wires to go across one of those arms rather than being sucked into the fan. So the design is brought forth within my brain, and then I CAD it out. Hey, Charlie. How's it going? So yeah, that's. How much fire engines or somebody running past here? I'm in the middle of nowhere. I left the city because I didn't want to be in the city anymore. And I don't miss it. Because I would like go into the city and I was like, and I'd realize, to take care of business or whatever, or go down to the VA office that I have to, or the DMV or something like that. And you're like, man, everything's loud out here. I hate this place. All the light pollution, can't see the stars at night. And even where I'm at, even though I'm in a suburb of suburbs, I'm still not out far enough where I can get away from the light pollution so I can just see the stars. I want a patch of land, plant some of my own food, have some animals, have my shop where I'm doing all this, a bigger building, a steel building. And if any steel building manufacturers are watching, you have now the opportunity to do something great and have a great commercial doing it. And that's supplying me with a shop that meets the needs that I am required. Or that I have required. Sorry, when I switch to my announcer voice, things go crazy. But basically, yeah, I want to be out there where I can just, sit out on my porch in the morning and drink my coffee and see a cute little squirrel off in the distance and shoot him with a 308. Just to watch the puffy pink fur. America. That's what it's about right there. It'll be 11 o'clock in the morning and I'll have coffee with just enough bourbon in it to make sense. But I want to see the snowfall too, so I want to be far out. I want to get up the mountain a little bit, so I can get some snow. Because down in the valley, you don't get much. It's just we'll get hail sometimes. Lately, a couple tornadoes, which has been odd, but with a telescope, if I could afford a nice one. I've had a few cheapies in the past, but that kind of got me hooked. I've always kind of been a stargazer. It's always fascinated me because you look up at that tapestry of a sky and you see the Milky Way when it's dark enough. And if you pull yourself out of a two-dimensional phase where that whole thing where you're looking at screens all the time and it's 2D, and realize that some of those stars are closer than others in the vastness and the depth of what you're looking at, and try to fathom that and just look how gorgeous it is, and you're just like amazed. Like we're on a planet spinning around a burning ball of hydrogen, which is in the arm of a galaxy that's traveling through the universe at I don't even know what speed. I'd have to look it up again. And there's more arms to that guy. And the stars you see in the sky, for the most part, are just the ones that are in the arm that we happen to be in. It's our local group. And you can see it's either the end of the spiral arm or the Orion arm, or it's the next arm over that you can see when you see that white swath of the Milky Way in the sky. And that just kind of brings things into perspective, because I mean, it's literally, the Milky Way is 150 million light, or 150,000 or 115 million light years across, or something like that. I know there's a 1 and a 5 involved. I don't have all the statistics memorized yet, but it's just amazing to me when you look up there and you go, that is just gorgeous, and that's what I want. I want land out there, and so I can see all that. Get enough snow, but not too deep, where I'm like having to dig my way out of my roof in order to go outside. But I wouldn't mind that either, you know. Um, yeah, the light pollution is awful. But yeah, I'm hoping eventually that you know, we're working on my VA benefits. I hope they get to a point where I can afford to get that piece of land. And realistically, the idea is put a really nice prefabricated home on it. And then I want a log cabin style house in the back. So on the back of the property where the main house will be, that's what I want to do. So that's the dream. And I want to grow my own food, because I like, you know, planting things and growing them and like reaping the benefits of that. And I want to have animals to produce certain commodities that I may need. And as I progress in age, it'll keep me active. So that's pretty much the idea. And eventually, you guys will, you know, if you're lucky, you'll be one of the few that I buzz in some of my turbine light aircraft. Or if you're a fan of Star Citizen, you may see a Cutlass Black land in your backyard. Because I'm a man of my word, and I like hydrogen, and I'm telling you, I'm going to do this. I will build a Cutty Black and fly it. One big enough for people and cargo. It's going to take a lot of work. But hey, anything's better than South Africa's helicopter program, right? Aquaponics farm. Yeah, I have seen those. Those are pretty cool. I actually did something similar to that, but I didn't 3D print it. I made, basically I got 4-inch ABS pipes, not ABS, PVC, and then I had the holes in them for the small pot holders that hold the rock wool that you put the seed in, and I had 4 rows of those pipes at angles. And then what I was doing was I was using aquaponics. I was basically I was growing tilapia in one tank and filtering their nitrates through the pipe system after it goes through the heavy sediment tank, and then that feeds the plants, and then it cycles the water back out and into the tank, and then the tilapia grow, and their byproduct, their waste, their nutrients that they create in the water, feed the plants. So I had kale and all kinds of stuff growing off the fence out of these pipes, and it was really cool. So now as the seasons change and we had some bad windstorms here, it kind of tore my setup apart that was out on my fence. So I brought that back into the porch in my backyard so that I could control the algae growth in the tank for the tilapia, and so that I could grow everything I needed to grow They just pipe the water out to where it needs to go, and pipe it back. So yeah, um, I'm kind of doing what you're talking about. Um, I like the vertical aeroponics, um, but for me, a lot of it is, can I do this? Because you got to remember, I had these plants growing out of these pipes. There was no dirt at all in the pipes. It was just water. So the entire pipes filled up with a root system as it would continue to grow, and they basically held the nutrient water in place enough after it drained through to where they could survive. And they actually thrived. They grew much quicker than the ones that were in the ground. Well, I'm doing industrial engineering at the moment. I'm finishing that degree, and then I'm going for a master's in aerospace and aeronautics. You print the little parts for the plants in your dad's hydro setup. So yeah, I mean, you know, there's so many things you can do. One of the things we've forgotten as a society is exactly how to do that, and that's be self-sustaining. In order to be truly self-sustaining, you have to be able to create your own food, have an alternative power source if that's a priority. Um, be on a well, be on a septic tank, be on solar, things like that, or another form of electricity. Sure, be attached to the grid if you want to, but in the event it goes down, you know, you kind of want to be self-sustaining. For me, it's about being self-sustaining. So the idea is to get the property and get everything to where, yeah, I may have a power line that goes out there, so I'm not taxing my systems until I need them. But once something happens, if we lose power for an extended period of time, I'm not even going to be phased by it. And that's the whole point. If I can't make it to a store to get food, it doesn't matter. I've got fresh tilapia in the tank. I've got chickens laying eggs every day, and I've got vegetables that have been preserved and jarred from last year's grow, and fruits and things like that. I mean, that's really where I want to go with all of it. And then have my much bigger shop with, of course, a landing pad. I'm gonna need one of those for testing. Um, so yeah, I mean, those are the dreams that I have for all this. And sorry, sitting in this chair just doesn't do it for me. Oh, lordy. So, reading chats. Yes, that is the fun part. There's been several times that I've been like, oh, I need to print up a camera mount or something, put on a wall because I need to, I wanted to go live or something. I wanted to do it on the PC, but I wanted the camera to be out here. And I just went into Fusion and designed a camera mount for the camera that I had and put it on the wall. Or if you need to, print a door stop or something like that, or, a strong TPU, a door, not just a foot stop, the one that keeps the door open, but also a door stop for the, or maybe you have one of those kickstands for your door that has that rubber that wears out, or you use a chain that has the rubber that you just print that out of TPU. I mean, there's so many things that you can save yourself a trip to the hardware store just by having the right materials in a 3D printer. It's amazing. And 9 times out of 10, the model for it already exists online in one form or another, whether it be Thingiverse or Maker World or things like that. And you can find all these pieces. As a matter of fact, I don't upload a lot of STLs, mainly because I don't like to put something out that I don't believe is completed. So like I made a 64 millimeter fan blade for an EDF for myself. It was a 12 blade, and I designed it a specific way to put out a decent amount of thrust, but be rigid enough where it could take a hit if it needed to be. And I meant it for EDF, I meant it for flying, but somebody in, I think it's like the HVAC or something like that, or whatever work he did, I can't remember specifically, I'd have to look up the comments so I can show it to you. He found that model, that 64 millimeter blade that I made, and he said, this is like the perfect replacement for something in my work. Now, if these things break, like they typically do, I can just print another one. He goes, this is awesome. It worked out for whatever work he does. And that kind of made me feel good. He didn't use it in something that he was flying around. So what? It was something he was able to use that benefited him. And all he had to do was print it. He didn't have to go try and find one. Or it may have been a situation where he couldn't find a replacement because they stopped making them or discontinued it or whatever. But for whatever reason, what I made his work easier. And that made me feel good. So I will be uploading more practical parts for that purpose. but as far as uploading STLs, I don't know if anyone's going to go, yeah, you know what? I've always needed a 340 millimeter EDF fan. It's just, that's why I haven't done it yet. Oh, that's cool. Like your own little, like the assault rifle but it's salt, like table salt. The one that you shoot flies with or whatever. That's cool. I would like to see that. If you guys ever have anything you want to show me, anything's cool, you can email it to me. My link is in the bio, my email link. And I'd love to see it. If you got a short video on something you made, I'll give you a shout out on YouTube, stuff like that, and just so people go and see it. If you think it's cool and you shared it there, send me the link, send me a picture or whatever. I just think it's cool, the stuff that people come up with. Oh, okay. Yeah, you could do it on my Discord as well. There's a Discord invite. So if you guys want to post something there is a build vlog that I have set up. I call it a build vlog area. Should still be there if my moderators haven't changed anything. So yeah, you can post stuff there. You can post projects there and share your build progress and things like that. That's totally fine. That's what it's there for. It's for the community to go on and say, this is a build I'm doing. Here's a sample of it. And if you're doing, making YouTube videos and things like that, and you want people to see this, then that's a great place for you to go and show your work. If it's just something you want to show in general and you're not really YouTubing, but you like building stuff and you want some advice, or you want people to see it for whatever reason, yeah, feel free. Go join the Discord. Let me know if the link isn't working, because I keep doing the forever link, the one that doesn't expire, and then sometimes it doesn't work. So let me know if it doesn't, and I'll be sure to fix it. But yeah, go to join the Discord. Join the Discord and get into the conversation. We have game, streaming channels. We have voice chat areas for whatever projects you want to talk about or subjects. We have even have a memes, channel, so you can go on there. So, but yeah, just join it and enjoy yourself. All right, Andrew. Thanks for stopping by. I appreciate it. And I will definitely keep working. Yeah. Hope to see you again on the next one. Yeah, the Etsy shop link I'm going to take down because this is what happened. I'll explain that to you now. This cup was one of the things that I was going to put out, and that was Stubby Fan, which was the 170 millimeter. It became fairly popular in the beginning, so I decided to dedicate a mug to it. But I opened up a shop, and I sent it. I had the merchandise created, and then I had like 1 or 2 sales, and then they shut me down and said I violated a policy. And I have no idea what. They wouldn't tell me. So I used my other email, and I did it again. And opened up the shop thinking maybe it was just, a mistake of some kind, or it was tied to a different phone number or whatever. And I tried to sell again, and they said I violated their policy again. Well, I had revenue on both sites, which they not only kept, they shut down the site, they kept the money, and never gave it back to me. And I've tried, getting a hold of them on Instagram because it's the only way you can. But yeah, they just shut me down and kept the cash. And I was like, are you serious? You're going to shut down my shop, not tell me why, not give me any answers whatsoever. And my attorney's already on it because they're gonna lose a lot more than what they took from me now, because now I have an attorney. So yeah, and he's dealt with this kind of stuff before. They don't want to answer me on Instagram. I've tried. I've told them. I said, hey, why did you shut my shop down? You never gave me any reason. You didn't tell me what policy violation I did. And then you kept my revenue and wouldn't even answer me on any of my inquiries. So my attorney is going to dig into it, and by the time it's done, if this was anything to do with any kind of discrimination whatsoever, I'm going to own Etsy. I promise you that. So Etsy, if you're listening, I'm going to take back what's mine with interest. So know that. Should have answered me. It's okay. Yeah, I'm gonna take it. They're gonna make it right, or I'm gonna take it. Don't let them screw you over like that. See, what I'm gonna do is I'm sitting and open my own site dedicated to this. I'm trying to decide on who I want to host it. More at what sites that I can use, so on and so forth. I gotta buy the domain so far, and gotta do a whole bunch of other stuff. You know how it goes. And then I'll get the merch printed up and have a steady stock before I start putting things out. But yeah, basically that's what happened. Was I'll have to take that link down. Thanks for reminding me about that. I forgot that I still had it up there. But let me know. Were you saying that the Discord link was bad, or are you able to actually join? So I'll refresh that if I need to. Because apparently they have expiration dates on their never-ending Discord invites. Yeah. That's what I need, is a bamboo lab farm. Yeah, I'm gonna sue them. Oh yeah. I'm gonna sue them for sure. Etsy's got one coming. They chose to ignore me. And I could have gone, the soldier route, but I decided to be diplomatic. You're always diplomatic before war. So I'm trying diplomacy. Give them a chance. Let them make it right. If they don't make it right, we do what we have to. The attorneys will take care of it, and they're not messing around because they want to get paid too. And I would bank off of the greed of an attorney before I would bank off of my own. So I know they're going to go after Etsy. So if Etsy's seeing this, you got one chance to make it right. It might not have been much revenue that you took from me, but it's the principle of it. Okay? It's the fact that you did it and you thought you could get away with it. Well, I'm a civilized man, so we can handle this in a civil manner. In civil court. Or you can just make it right now. But consider this your last warning before the paperwork starts coming in. Yeah, definitely let me know if that Discord link's still working. It should be. I had to do it twice already, and I made sure I marked that it was one that doesn't expire. But for some reason they do anyway. It's like my computer acts that way too. I don't know how many times, like every time I restart my computer and I go back to Amazon Prime or something like that to watch something, I have to log back in and then do the opt-in code. And then I check don't require opt-in for this browser. And it's like every single time I start my computer. Welcome. And I'm only laughing because I complain so much about people that I run into in public that get mad at me for like misgendering them or whatever. And I'm like, you're not wearing a name tag. And you just straight up jumped into the chat with the name tag. I appreciate that. I don't necessarily agree with all of your lifestyle, but you're welcome to your own opinions. And I appreciate you coming into the chat and actually just saying, this is what I am. Because now I can't get it wrong. Because I don't like to offend individuals. I like to do it as a group. I like to offend groups of individuals. So, yeah. Thank you for doing that. Glad you were able to throw that out there. It wouldn't have mattered because you're a human being. So, but welcome to the conversation. Did you mean your? What is that? Throw my short? Wait. Did you mean your? Why would I throw my shirt? This isn't that kind of channel. All right? And you'd have to pay for that. Yeah, okay. I figured it was a typo. But why would I throw my shirt? And you came in with your, name tag on. This is mine. So we're both on the same page now, aren't we? How's your day going, Quillen? How you doing today? You having a good day? Off day? Bad day? Want to get something off your chest? Just spit it out. I welcome everyone, whether they believe in my viewpoints or think I'm wrong or whatever. It doesn't matter. Can't hurt my feelings. Yeah, that was kind of vague. Told me to throw my shirt. Didn't tell me where to throw it. Just, I think she's just trying to get me to take my shirt off. She wants to see the goods. She says he's gay. Maybe I can turn her. That is a funny question, though. Yeah, I just want to know why don't you throw your shirt? So do I. She wasn't quite specific on that. She said she ran in and said she was. I'm not going to repeat the words because I know YouTube's algorithm, and I don't fall for those traps. So she did mention she was a female. So I guess I didn't get that part wrong by saying she. No response? Come on, Quinlan. No more conversation other than that? So you want to jump in, throw your name tag on the table, walk out? Okay, cool. Discord's working. All right. So we know the Discord's up as far as the link goes. Yeah, I guess she did run away. I'm not sure what all that was about. Came in, got offended, told me to throw my shirt. She's like, throw your shirt. She was offended by my shirt, but wants everyone to know what she is. Which doesn't offend me, so I don't understand the comment of throw my shirt. Yeah, that was probably it. I see what you're saying. But they didn't get a chance to read the bottom part. And that's exactly what she did. Bam! There's a mic drop. So the punchline on the shirt is exactly what happened. Thank you, shirt. That was beautiful. That couldn't have been more ironic. Yeah, I believe she's gone. And I don't know why she said throw your shirt then also. I said, because what was it that I said? You came in, stated what you said, threw it down. I appreciate that. I appreciate that. Because the last thing I want to do is to get into a fight with a Karen on the live stream over the fact that I didn't know what she was by the text alone. Just came out and said it. Just threw down the table. This is what I am. Like, okay, fine. We know now. Thank you. Moving on. See, this shirt works. You don't have to say a word. You just gotta sit here and you automatically offend people. I've acquired a new superpower. Automatic offensiveness. Yeah. I'd like to thank my loving wife and children for purchasing this shirt for me. It has now become a weapon. And I will hold my head high knowing that Quinlan came in, said the exact same thing to her standards, of course, to mock the shirt because it pissed her off without ever reading the bottom of the shirt. It worked! Oh, yeah. That's how you get her done right there. Oh, man. Let's see. So I tried the TPU, said shore hardness 95 for a wheel. I printed it works like a charm. Yeah, see, I told you. That TPU for the AMS, that's some awesome stuff. It really is. Great for vibration dampening too. If you're using something that requires a large section, like the fan that I did, one of the 170s I did, the main shaft was done out of solid infill of the TPU for the AMS, and it was perfect for vibration dampening. Absolutely perfect. Yeah, it is a bit stiffer than standard TPU, quite a bit, but it still has that flexibility, and I guarantee you're not pulling it apart. That's got some layer bonding like I have never seen in any kind of 3D printed material. So I'm glad it worked out for you. Tell Bamboo Lab I sent you there. Tell Bamboo Lab I told you the miracle of the AMS TPU. You could print heavy washers for that with that stuff. That would like if you were bolting down, like I'm an old commercial diver, so putting pipe works together underwater that need to maintain pressure, you could make a really good 3D printed gasket out of that stuff. and it would work well in a solid infill. That AMS TPU is just, that's some strong stuff. I mean, print a ring of it, a couple millimeters thick, all the way around, like say 5, just for the heck of it, and see how strong it is. Like hang weights from it until it breaks, and just, it's amazing. Yeah, but that's just the thing. It was designed for the AMS because of the fact that the AMS has to push so much filament through before it gets to the printer head. So in order to accommodate people with an AMS that wanted to still print TPU, they came out with this formula. And it can be used in any printer, like I said. But it will still render the same results. It'll give you really good, really rigid TPU parts that are waterproof, that the layer bonding, I mean, it's just insane. It's just insane. This stuff is great. I can think of so many applications for that material. I mean, I printed a plane out of it, and a propeller that won't break. It eventually broke because I put it through absolute hell by spinning the prop up, a Corsair prop, at full speed against an iron table. And it took forever for it to break. I crashed a plane several times with that propeller, and the only thing that I could recover from it was the propeller. So it works for propellers. Not sure how it would act in EDFs, just because the EDF would have to be fairly large. And because you want that thickness for the rigidity on the TPU, on that particular TPU. But I think that may be an experiment I do in the future with TPU, is how those blades flex, and how you could have a variable pitch blade based solely on RPMs. So that could work well. How is the Ender 5 S1? I'll have to look it up now and take a look at it. But I assume it prints pretty clean. I mean, I still have an old Ender 3 sitting over there. It still works. I just don't like bed leveling. Well, I guess Quinlan's not coming back, so thank you for jumping in and helping the algorithm and my metrics on this live stream, and it was nice knowing you. I'll go check it out after this live stream, for sure. See, that's what it's all about, man. Did you put it in the build vlog, or did you put it? Where did you put it? Any videos, stuff like that, products, go in the build vlog. If you end up posting it in Turbo Heads, which is kind of like the main channel, where people share videos and stuff like that, but they share links to videos. If you have personal videos or anything like that you want to go into the build vlog, that's what that's specifically for. But I'll see it, I'm sure, once I log on there. So, yeah, today was just a chill day, kind of relax. Tomorrow I have shipments coming in for filament, which I need to finish the stator casing on this fan. I have I have the bearings coming in for this main shaft, the collet, the bearings for, actually I have the skateboard bearings that are coming in for here for the shafts that I created for these ports, which will sit up against the hub. Actually, let me grab that so I can show you. So this is the bearing stator hub, and it slides obviously over this. I still got to print the other sections of it, and then the bearings are between obviously here and here. So I've designed them for those bearings, and that's how it looks so far. Before I put in the actual fan casing, which bolts to this, which will also have to be printed in pieces. But I've got everything set up to where it indexes together, as you can see. And I was painting it white because I just had different colors of filament, and I wanted it to be white because the fan's black and white, and it would just look better as it's spinning, you know. But yeah, this is gonna put out some thrust. I'm telling you. Giggity. Yeah, the skateboard bearings that go on the shafts here are to ensure that this main shaft that's attached to the fan can't be pulled past the hub bearing assembly. So that's to keep it in place. It wouldn't really go anywhere anyway because it's going to be attached. The main shaft is attached to the collet, which is attached to the motor mount, which is attached to the hub. But I didn't want the force of the fan pulling forward to put undue or unnecessary stress on the bearings inside the motor by pulling it forward. So I made it to where there's going to be skateboard bearings, basically, your standard skateboard bearings, on shafts that go through here, and then those will push against the hub, ensuring that a majority of the torque doesn't get transferred to the bearings that are inside the motor. So that was the plan behind that. Let me sit that down. And then I made my Arduino RPM sensor, of course, and I'll see if I can't show you that at work. So I kind of have to get this that I made all on this, so it's a little bit more manageable. But I had to build the circuit. So what I did was I basically took a sensor, which I'll set here, and it's a good thing I have the lights kind of off so you can kind of see what's going on here. Let me get you a vantage point here where you can kind of see. I want you to see the sensor blink. And because what I did is I took, some tape and put it on the end of the drill, just some reflective tape on the end. And I may have to do some programming adjustments, but I think overall it's actually doing what it's supposed to do. So let's... Okay. And so what it should do is pick up... Yeah, there it goes. There we go. Well, it's working well. So basically the idea is that sensor here will sit on the front of the hub from the casing in the front, so that it can give me my RPM reading. And I have an amp meter already, so that's going to give us our amps. See, it says RPM. I've had to do some code changes. It says RPM at the bottom. but it works. So try and shield it from the light. So it works good. Now I just have to transfer this mess to an actual board. It should be, well, with this fan here, we're not going to 30,000 RPMs. This fan actually is only going to need about 6,000 RPMs to produce its maximum thrust. I can push more. I do have a 75 volt motor that can do more, but the setup I'm using, just like with the 170 millimeter fans, is a 150 amp ESC at 48 volts. So I'm not pushing the full voltage through the motor. And the reason for that is because it'll help with heat mitigation until I get a higher voltage setup ESC. So we're going to push 48 volts. The maximum amps for the motor is 100, so this will cover it. It's not going to overheat. If I get spikes, it's not going to really hurt anything. My amp meter will be involved. The RPMs will be on here. Everything else set up so that we can basically run that motor. And it is a Flip Sky 7070. So it'll work on this one as well as that one, because I have it set up to where this 4-to-1, I gotta put it back together. This 4-to-1 gear ratio goes to this fan here. So that gives me there's a higher torque that it has to deal with because it's going through a 4-to-1 gear ratio, stepping up. So you're turning that, 110 kV times 48. So you got 4,800 times 4. So that's your RPMs for this fan with a 110 kilovolt motor. And I go with the lower kV motors because they end up having a lot more torque. Hi, Deadpool. You enjoying your stay on the blown up stubby fan? That's good. Yes, I'll finish you eventually. Oh, this one's full. What died on my... It's like killed a fly somehow, charging my battery. Hold on a second. We'll deal with that later. But anyway, so this is working like it's supposed to. And getting the contrast right at different angles was a little bit of a pain, but I finally figured out a 1 kilo ohm resistor works out good for that. So let me go ahead and power that down. We know that's working. So put that here. And then the ship I'm still working on. I get the lights done on that. And then I got to do the sails and the rigging. And maybe I'll do another painting. You can see I have several different fan types, different box types that I was experimenting with. A geared fan for a 2-to-1 for the twins. A couple other twins fan blades up there. Standard direct drive fan blade. That was the main gear that kind of pushed the twins. And then this is the TPU plane I showed you yesterday. Oh, gosh. Very durable, but totally TPU. And you're not breaking the wings. Let's put it that way. Stand up there. All right, there we go. And this is the Madonna fan. Everybody will get that joke. So this is the type of shaft I was talking about. It's like the larger one over there, but it's a different configuration. And I did one out of straight AMS TPU. And it was rigid enough. As a matter of fact, it's in this fan.
So this is TPU right here, this main shaft. And I have a hexagonal index that goes through, which kind of keeps everything straight and solid. This is a front drive system. That's let me try and pull the engine. Okay, the engine mount's off. Sorry. This is the engine mount for the 7070 or the 6374, but this is actually driven with a 4-to-1 gear ratio, so you can kind of see how that works. So this is also a 4-to-1 gear ratio, but it's a smaller box and it's a floating ring gear. The problem is I need it CNC'd, because what ends up happening is I end up burning up these gears at about half throttle, and the sun gear takes the brunt of the damage. But this PETG is Bamboo Lab PETG, and it has survived some RPMs. Now, this is Creality PETG, and I don't know how many RPMs it will survive, but at least we know that since this is Creality PETG, it's thick enough to where it should survive a lot. So, yeah, there you go. So, let's go back over here and see if we can't get it set up to where you guys are looking at me again. Oh, that might be too low. Let's go up a little bit. Oh, what's my battery? Hold on. Okay, yeah, that's good. So, realistically, when it comes to these fans, I try to do what I can to make them work with a singular engine. And what I want to do is I want to design something that you guys can get the STLs for after I've verified everything's working perfectly. You can go on Amazon and get everything you need right off of Amazon. And you can have a high-powered EDF and not have to worry about the high-powered EDF price. I mean, I'm running this 340 millimeter fan off of 48 volts. And right now, the test battery packs are only 270C, 2200 milliamps. You can put a bigger battery on it if you want, as long as you get 48 volts. You can use two 6000 milliamps, 100Cs. I have a graphene battery that does 100C, but you don't need that because of the amp requirements of the motor. I mean, you can get away with 3540C. It'll handle the draw. So, but I try to stay with a higher discharge rate, so I have the overhead and there's not a lot of overheating. So that's one of the main reasons. I work on all this constantly. So, if I'm not working on it during the day, I'm working on it at night. If I'm not working on it at night, I'm designing stuff in my head. I have really bad tinnitus in my left ear from my service in the military, and I have to listen to books when I go to sleep. So I'll listen to physics books or design books or philosophy books, theology books, whatever I can basically get my hands on that'll keep my brain going at night. And the easiest way for me to fall asleep is to listen to those books, because I miss silence. I've missed it for 20 years because of that constant screaming sound in your ear. And so me being in silence is torture. It does not help me sleep at all. So I'm basically trying to absorb knowledge even as I'm falling asleep. Sometimes I'll listen to books on language, trying to fall asleep learning a new language or something, But I work on this stuff all the time. I'm retired Army, so I have plenty of time on my hands. I have a family I'm trying to take care of, so that's why I'm doing this. It's really about getting to the point where I can sustain this channel and sustain these projects for all of you, and then it won't interfere so much with my income, so that I can take care of my family. And I have an end goal in mind, obviously, for a major project, a couple of major projects actually. But that's why I keep so much on my plate when it comes to these projects, is because I have to keep going towards my ultimate goal. So what is one of the ultimate goals? Well, one of my ultimate goals is to build an RC plane that I break the sound barrier with. And that's a major goal, but it's achievable. And what really kind of drove me towards designing my own engine was the fact that any of these really high-end engines like Schubler or HP Hobby or something like that, they have great engines. They have great turbines, great EDFs, but they're super, super expensive. I've seen Vassy fan; those are really good fans, but they run off of 120S systems, so they're extremely high voltage. So my answer to that was, can we make one that's going to give us the thrust we need for the application and only draw 48 volts? Draw a maximum of 75 volts if I want to. And that was the goal behind this. No, that's clear PETG, actually. That I basically did a one-line print, and yeah, that's clear PETG. And then I used the addressable, I have a ton of them, NeoPixels, and then an Arduino, which is down in the base, and then Arduino Nano. And then I just programmed a red, white, and blue kind of lightning strike kind of effect. Wrote up the code, and then it works great. And now I'm going to put those all over the drone when I'm done with it. Be the best UFO sighting you've ever seen. That's the way I want to do it. But yeah, I was creating, because I have, girls and stuff like that, I did some, female lamps, the girl holding her hands above her head or whatever, and created that lamp. I did that out of PETG, and then I ran the lights all the way up a bar up the middle that I printed out of PETG. And the great part about how the layer lines diffuse the light is you can't see each individual light, and it just flows up that PET. It's just beautiful the way it works. So I created those, gave it to one of my daughters. I even gave one to a neighbor when they had a new baby, so they'd have a night light, and yeah, it's just, I like creating things. So it's not just flying aircraft. It's Arduino. It's wood shipbuilding. It's me taking a chance at painting and things like that, and because I don't know how to paint, but I did a few paintings, but the main three that were really cool was I went and watched like a bunch of Bob Ross stuff and learned how to do the wet on wet technique, and ended up with 3 really, really good paintings that are hanging in my living room because my wife insisted on them being hung up. The one acrylic that I did here was more of an abstract. Is basically, it's just acrylic over an older canvas, and it was meant to just be an abstract. And it came out all right. Again, it was another experiment in painting for me because it was acrylics and not oil. So that was one of the reasons why I did it. I've done the calculations on 48 volts, and to put it simply, 4 of these motors will easily, convey me around the area on a drone. So yeah, with 4 48 volt motors. So the way I'm doing it on the test is I'll have 4 of these 340 mils. They'll be running off of 2 6,000 milliamp 22.2 volt packs. So you'll have 12,000 milliamps at 48 volts for each engine. I'm using a Taro power distribution board because the amps that are required are perfect for it, because it's a 480 amp board and the engine's max amp current draw is 100, and the max thrust is way beyond what I expected in the calculations. So real world testing will the paintings might be on Discord. If they're not, I'll put them up. But the real world thrust estimates I haven't gotten to yet, because I'm going to static thrust test this here on this stand, on this table. And then once I verify the thrust output of this fan, then I'm going to build the one that I'm going to, against my wife's wishes, basically sit on and ride. Like a quad, right? Just go into the store. Yeah, I've seen that. I'm still trying to get. I have a little battery operated airbrush. It's not like a real expensive setup, but I've been practicing with that too, and it's just that's tricky. That's tricky because you got to get the flow right. If you're just, it's just hats off to the people who are painting mini figurines. I'm telling you, that's some skill right there and some patience. I don't know how much patience I have with that. I can't even wait for a Bamboo Lab to get done printing. I'm like, hurry up! But yeah, that's cool. I love watching people do like the little figurines, because I can't for the life of me figure out how they're doing it. Because me, it would be just like, I wouldn't be able to do a straight line. So are there any other things that you guys are into that you use 3D printers for? Have you been thinking about getting into 3D printing if you're not already? And what kind of hobby are you into? I'm trying to get into FPV, but flying acro is not easy. And I've been practicing that for a little while using a program called Liftoff on Steam. Really cool because it works with my TX16S, and then I can learn how to fly acro. I don't know how physically accurate it is as far as physics go, but it gives me an idea. Hey, what's going on, Jackson? How you doing? And if I had really clean prints, to at least for me. But yes, slow. Yeah, the slower machines are obsolete at this point. This is actually it's from Zippo. And I got it for my wife when she had the Yankee candles. So wherever they sell the Yankee candles, you know, you can get this lighter. So, yeah, it's a good lighter. Propane Zippo. This one's pretty old, so they probably have a newer version of it on that. If you go to the Yankee Candles website, I'm not affiliated with them. I'm just telling you where we got it. Or this one, I don't think we ordered this one. I think I went to one of their stores for that. Because my wife was picking out some candles. You can adjust the flame size and everything. You can go up or you can go down. Just like any fire, you know, any lighter. Anyway, what's my favorite food? Oh, wow. Kielbasa. Kielbasa. No starches, none of the other stuff, just straight up protein. My favorite snack that I don't usually have very often anymore are the Hostess Twinkies. And if you search my lives, you'll never believe it. I did a 24-hour live stream of a Hostess Twinkie because I don't think anyone's ever done it. So I am the first to have brought you the 24-hour Hostess Twinkie. And there's some really good, relaxing music on there. So you can play that live Hostess Twinkie stream all night and sleep well, knowing that you will go to sleep with the golden goodness on your screen and the music that goes along with it, and you'll wake up the next morning and it'll still be there for you. So make sure you check out that stream. It is, I tried to make it sort of, everyone does these ambiance videos where they have like the cafe and some piano music playing in the background. I was like, screw it, I'm doing the same thing, but I'm going to film a Twinkie. So for 24 straight hours, I had a live stream of that Twinkie. Actually, a pair of Twinkies. It was a little while ago, so you might have to scroll down through the lives, but you'll see it. But yeah, favorite food so far, kielbasa. That or a good shepherd's pie. This chair is killing me. It's definitely not built for someone my size. Yeah. Oh, crack all the joints. Man. Whew. So what's your favorite food, Jackson? Stitch incoming. So, at the end of the conversation, I don't see anyone talking about anything else. What do you think of the stock market? Everyone wondering why I didn't buy stocks. Buy the dip now. Be rich later on. Told a friend of mine, buy American uranium because Iran is not wanting to play nice. To the point where the United States literally parked like a bunch of B-52s in Greenland. And they're like, they didn't even hide it. They were like, these are B-52 bombers that can carry enough ordnance to completely level your country. So yeah. He's gonna find out. If he keeps messing around, I'll tell you that. Everyone's gonna be like, what happened to Iran? Sunrise at 3 a.m. I guess I've scared off everyone. Oh, Charlie, if you're still here, yeah. IR sensor, yeah. Well, actually, yeah, it's an IR sensor. On that thing. I'll give you the module specs in Discord. Okay, I'm starting to catch up on the chat. How lighter is that? Okay. And what's my favorite food, which we already discussed? Kielbasa. It's healthy. Healthier for you. The birthday stream? Yeah. Yeah, I turned 49 last month. 49. I'm level 49 now. We don't call it years, we call it levels. Happy birthday, old. You think 49's old? I guess most of the generation that's online now probably think 49's old. But I bet I can still bench press your car. Yep, I'm 49. Why? Do I look older or younger? The beard throws it off. It does. It makes me look older than I am. Yeah, that's why I just said that about the beard. It does make me look older. I haven't been able to go get a trim. I do keep it a little bit shorter and cleaner, especially the sides of my hair and stuff like that. But yeah, it's been a while since I've been to the barber because I have not left the shop. I need to complete my work. I started realizing why Einstein and all, not saying that I'm as smart as they are, but Einstein and all those other scientists basically they got up, went to work, they were like, who cares about the hair? There's science to be done. There's work to be done. I don't care what my hair looks like. That's the funny part. I don't work out, actually. The only time I ever worked out was in the military. This is just the Viking blood in me, I guess. And yes, I don't mean that jokingly. Actually did the ancestry DNA, and apparently Ragnar Lothbrok wasn't just a series on TV. Vikings, he's actually my 31st grandfather through Aslaug Sigurdsdottir, the one he married after Lagertha. So yes, the Queen of Denmark is my 31st grandmother. Not to mention all the Yorks and the Plantagenets and everything else that are in there. Cicely Neville, the Talbots, all my ancestors. Robert the Bruce, that's my Scottish side. Yeah, I've got Irish, Scottish, English. Psychologist called flow. Talks about the flow of activities and that you love doing. Saw you miss meals. Your wife needs to remind you all the time. Yeah. Yes, she does need to remind me to eat all the time. It's not that, it's just that when I start something, I have to finish it. I have to finish it. I become obsessed with the work. And, well, then you see some of the stuff you see. There's also other ideas that I have that, like I mentioned before, that I'm not showing on YouTube. But I have to finish the work. I have to. I won't stop until I've reached my goal. Yep, and then I forget to eat. And my wife's like, and then by the time I look at my watch, like right now, I haven't even had lunch. I didn't have lunch today. I had breakfast. But I probably won't eat till dinner because I'll be working or doing this or now that I've said that, my wife's gonna make me eat. So, but this is all you need, man. Coffee, that's all you need right here. Best stuff in the world, man. My friend of mine. Bitter coffee for bitter people. There's a link in my bio for this, and it has a 10% discount on your coffee because you use the link on my bio, and you can get yourself some merch there. I got a cool cup. The link is called Breakfast in Bread, and I got the cup, I got the coffee, and I've even got my cup, which I still haven't been able to sell yet because the people who run Etsy are dicks. But if you ever watch the Stubby Fan progression, you'll want a Stubby Fan mug. Dawson! Again! Awesome! We've got Dawson back. I'm always sitting here waiting for Dawson to go, I'm back again. I think during my lives, I'm going to actually sit here and wait until Dawson shows up. Oh, you did a live stream last night? Oh, that's too bad. Everyone say hi to Dawson. He's always taking off and coming back. Are you going to live stream tonight? Yeah, I figured, Dawson. You need to go to my email in my bio and send me a link or an invite or something to your Twitch so I can watch what you're playing. Yeah, but you're doing it on Twitch, right? Okay. Yeah, I'm on PC as well. Nowadays, it's just the way to go against the consoles. You know, as long as you have the right setup. I could do with a better graphics card, but you know, wasn't in the budget. So, you know, you do what you can. I think I'm only running I've got a Ryzen 7, I think, 5800X on my processor, and my GPU is an NVIDIA 3080 Ti, so it's a little bit older. And I need to get a better video card. I know that the power supply I have can support like a 4070, because it's running a 3080. So yeah, it could run the 4070, which would be a sufficient upgrade for me. I don't need too much for gaming. I use it mainly for CAD work. So for me, I would love to have one of those expensive workstations that I saw with like massive. Like NVIDIA needs to just send me their flagship GPU computer setup so I can just do my CAD work. That's what NVIDIA needs to do. Come on, NVIDIA, kick down. Send me a computer that rivals all computers, and I will do all of my CAD work and all my gaming on that, stream every single bit of it, and sell computers and hardware for you for years to come. This video's not watching. The video's not watching my live stream right now. I kind of wish they were. I started the stream today because I just wanted to, you know. And it was an update sort of on the project, because the large fan project that I'm putting together now, because I have filament and all the bearings and everything coming in tomorrow, so I can start finish up the printing of the main stator for the bearing hub, and then put the collet, which engages the engine shaft, on the end of the main shaft. And I've got the rest of the filament coming in to finish the stator, and then I'm going to finish the motor mount, and then I'm going to finish the flow rectification stators that go behind that support the motor inside the ductwork. The ductwork is going to be a nightmare because it's going to be big, so it's going to have to be in sections, and then I'm going to have to put it together all on the fan itself, on the fan's casing. So everything will be bolted to the main casing from the front, and then yeah, it's good. Basically, it's just going to be waiting for the stuff to get here tomorrow, and then it's going to be printing time. And I'll probably I won't live stream it, because people, for some reason, there's tons of people live streaming prints out there. I'll just give you the time lapse, save you some time. It might short me on some watch hours, but who cares, right? At this point, getting monetized is going to be me literally just staying on live forever. You're hungry. Go make that thing you made last time you said you were hungry. And you had a good idea. You could put like a pork chop in a tortilla and stuff like that. And I was like, that sounds pretty good. Tell you what I miss. MREs. I miss MREs. Military issue MREs. Love them. I could live off of those. Have you ever watched the movie Rain Man, Dawson? Or like watch The Sopranos, and you know the guy Jimmy Two Times? Because I don't know if it's a mistake on your end, but you keep repeating the same exact thing. It keeps coming through twice. Your chats are coming through twice. Come on, everyone, let's get some reactions. Who likes the Stubby Fan? Huh? Who loves Stubby Fan? Keep them going. Who missed my birthday? I'm gonna do the celebration one. Who's anxious to see a 340 millimeter EDF fan go as fast as it can and potentially explode? Let's get the 100% for that. Filled with reactions, 100% for the 340 millimeter EDF. All three of you. I don't know how many people are watching. The count is totally wrong on my side. It's either that or I'm really not that popular. Could be because my cleavage isn't showing. Or I'm not some ditzy girl online reacting to a video you've already seen on YouTube. You know how it goes. YouTube exploitation exposed. Yeah. I swear, if they pushed more of the science that we're working on and more of the creativity, we'd be a much better society, I'll tell you that. But no, it's much more fun to watch somebody throw a rock off of a bridge into a river. Thanks for showing us gravity. That's the kind of thing that ticks me off. You know, like 1.2 million views that somebody gets for throwing a rock off of a bridge into a river. Really? The likes are up in like the 239,000 likes. I'm going, that was entertaining? And this is just because I was scrolling through the reels on my PC and I'm going, why is it so many people are like doing stuff like this and they're getting so many views? I don't get it. And here I am lucky to pull 500 views off of a live if I'm lucky. They're usually pretty low, but you know, I've had people say in the chat when they saw some of my videos that you know I don't get enough recognition, and I figured it would just take time, not forever, but I figured it would take some time. It's proving to be a bit slower than expected on getting that going. So let me check my battery power on my phone, because it's the only camera that I have that's decent. I mean, I've got a 4K camera for my PC, but it's, you know, it's off of Amazon. It's not like a GoPro or anything. That's what I want, is I want to get a GoPro in here so I can, you know, film some stuff in some high res, and I want the slow motion capabilities of it for the fan. And but people keep telling me they get hot, so you can't run very long. And now I'm kind of leery about it. So now I'm thinking, like, what other camera out there can I get that's going to be good for filming indoors and outdoors, on an aircraft, off an aircraft. And everyone's like, well, maybe the Insta360, that would be kind of cool. I could do that. But I'm also looking for something that I can get some really good slow motion, like not like 60 frames slow, like 240 frames or something. So I can really slow it down, but still be in high definition, so that if I have failures on a fan, I can slow it down and collect the data, and see where the failure points were. Because sometimes you can see the failure points obviously after the fact, but you want to see where and why there was a failure. So getting a good high-speed, high-definition camera that'll give us a really good video that I can share with you guys, but also that can give me really good data, is something that I'm hoping to get soon. But those are big purchases for me. I can't afford to drop $500 on a GoPro setup, or $300 on an Insta, or whatever like that. I just can't, unless all of my subscribers goes to my Buy Me a Coffee link right now and buys me a coffee. If you all did it all at once, then I would have most of the equipment that I need to finish everything up in here and give you some more epic content, because I want to get outside and fly some of this stuff again, like I did when I was flying the Shrike drone, when I was experimenting with the turbo glider, which was a disaster, but it was so much fun. And you know, the dill drone, which crashed because the low voltage warning didn't go off, and that was one of my recent videos that I posted. I had to stop because a car passed, and so I hovered over the sidewalk, and this guy's just driving by staring at it out the window. I didn't get him on camera because I didn't want to do that, you know, but he's just going by slowly looking up at it. Like, yeah, that's what you're looking. It is what you're looking at. It's just too funny. Granddaddy, who might you be? Yep. SB. Never a truer statement. Don't forget to read the punchline. That's right, Stacy. I am your daddy. A nationalist? Elaborate your definition on nationalism. Me being a nationalist. Give me your definition of why you're a nationalist and what it means to you. And then you'll see if I'm a nationalist or not. I'll wait. I love it when people jump in and just put out random stuff. Ugh. Well, I don't hate anybody. Like, you step on my toes, I'm going to deck you no matter what you look like. You know, I don't think we should be wasting our time and money on the problems of other nations, and then for some reason that money circles back into a senator's pocket. I don't believe in any of that. No. I believe that if Iran keeps messing around, it's going to find out real quick why it shouldn't. Yeah, I read it. It was funny. I'll tell you that. I think you put one more O in there that was necessary, but immigration does benefit us. But yes, too much is bad, and in a sense, not so much too much is bad if it's done legally. It's when you have a lot of illegals that are hiding, and we have to do a census as Americans to make sure that there are benefits out there to benefit the people that want to come to this country that may want to actually build a life here. And then there's the other side of that coin where you have some people who are coming in just to exploit America, bringing in drugs, doing trafficking, things like that. Those are the ones that need to be punished severely to the point of no longer being on this planet. Because they ruin the immigration for the rest of everybody else, the people that want to come here and make a better life for themselves. Hell, we're all immigrants. Our ancestors are immigrants for the most part. That's how it happens, you know? That's how this country was built, on the diversity of others, the creativity of others. And I encourage that, but I encourage it legally. And if anyone is going to bring in drugs or anything else that harms another American citizen, and I happen to catch you at the border, well, you're going home. You're just not going to like how. So you're from Turkey. What's your stance on our policy of immigration then? Well, what's your stance on my policy of immigration? Because at one point we have to draw a line where, okay, so two things are going to happen. So let's say you're in a dictatorship and people in your ethnic group are being jailed or taken off this planet, let's say. If you're in that kind of situation and you're wanting a way out, and we know that, then you immigrate here and request asylum based on that. And we grant that asylum as long as you're willing to take the steps to be a legalized American citizen and contribute to the economy in which you are now trying to be adopted into. And that's the purpose of the immigration. I don't think we should waste any more bombs on the terrorists in other countries unless they attack us and our people or our allies. And sometimes our allies are questionable. They expect us to foot the bill and send in the army, let them take care of it, or put our naval fleets at risk over rebel groups like the Houthis and things like that doing their stupid crap. Okay, I'll be surprised if there's a Houthi left in the next year with the way things are going, because we're gonna wipe them off the map. Hi, how you doing? Welcome to the chat. Kid VR. You've been here before. How you been doing? Yeah, so your ideas are similar in the aspect that it's the legal immigration, because realistically, how are we supposed to allocate any kind of funding for people we don't know are here? And then those people show up at the places where they receive benefits because they can't work yet because they're not legal citizens or here on a visa. So that taxes the entire system, because we're like, okay, well, we have to give you somewhere to live, so we have to give you some money, or we have to give you county assistance, things like that. But if you're not here and we haven't allocated that money in the budget because you snuck in and you weren't able to be counted in the census, then, I mean, this is how these things work. It's common sense. Then, you know, it raises our debt and puts a burden on the job market for the people who are here, and not to mention taxes. I appreciate that. You're one of the few who do listen to me seriously. So yeah, as far as legal immigration is concerned, I'm all for it. I'm totally all for it. What we need to do, though, is if you come here legally and you're working on a visa and you're working towards citizenship and things like that, and you're doing everything that you know you're supposed to do, and then someone who is here illegally steals your stuff, you could see how that would probably make your views similar to mine, because you don't want to lose your stuff and or a loved one to the incursion of someone who is not supposed to be here, who has malicious intent in some cases. Saying all of them do. Some of them are desperate or being used just so that other people can get into the country to bring in illegal substances or traffic people. And I think that anyone is, I'm going to tell you right now, I don't care if YouTube likes it or not, if you traffic human beings, I hope somebody catches you, jails you, and executes you. And that's the truth. Because you know what? If you're trafficking human beings, I ever see it around here, the cops aren't making it to your door. Okay? That's all there is to it. So yeah, if there's any gangs watching and they don't like me for that or whatever, or MS-13, I don't give a shit about you. That's all there is to it. You traffic humans, you traffic drugs, that people that harm American citizens that I'm sworn to protect, I will take up arms against you. Backyard needs some fertilizer anyway. Yep. So you're having problems there about immigration as well? Here's the thing with that. We do need to get the illegals out. Yes. But a lot of the illegals that are here, like women with children, were used by the cartels to get here. And now they're stuck. So they get deported back. And that's not fair to them, because they may want to be here legally. Or they may not have even wanted to leave home. But then there's people that take advantage of the system. And they want to just come here illegally for the purposes of making money. Or, like I said, trafficking. You better hope I never see you doing it. And I know every one of them that's probably watching or may watch this later who is trafficking might laugh at me at this point, but I'll tell you what. I ain't lying. You are playing with it. You are playing with it hard. You are playing with the rest of your life real hard if you're trafficking. And I hope our U.S. soldiers find you. I hope they put you in prison for the rest of your life. And if you've harmed a U.S. citizen by coming here legally, I hope they catch you before I do, because I won't be so nice about it. Let's see. Oh, it was after Syria Civil War. Yeah. So there was a lot of people trying to come in to just escape it, or are you talking about after they decided they wanted to immigrate? If I'm looking down, it's because I'm trying to read the chat, trying to keep up. I know there's a delay, so if you're sending out chat and I'm like staring at the screen for a minute, forgive me, because it's just a delay between, yeah. So yeah, YouTube probably doesn't like the way I talk sometimes. They limit me because of my views. I don't think YouTube has read the Constitution. Yeah, so it was, okay, after and during the Civil War. I could see that. I mean, people tend to flee war zones, especially if they don't want to get involved in it. So, but then that puts a burden on the other country that they're going into, and also opens them up to attack if the war persists. Then it brings it to another border, and that can cause serious issues, especially when it's an internal civil matter that they're having the war over, and now it's spilled over into your borders, so you have to intervene, and now you're at war with a country over something that they were fighting over internally, and that can really screw up your economy and your immigration, and it puts lives at risk that are unnecessary. And that's sad, because you end up having to defend your borders from somebody else's civil war, and that's not the way it's supposed to be. But there's a whole world of people who bank on war. They bank on it. They make money off of it. And they don't see the toll, so they don't care. And that's sad. You know? Some people are more interested in making money off of the arms race involved with a civil war in another country. And they don't care about the human toll. They just care about making the money off the weapons. And that's sad. I mean, that's the way this world is. It's just sad. But this is why I'm glad that we're taking the stances that we are taking on immigration. And, you know, and implementing the tariffs that we've been implementing. Everyone's saying, oh, it's ruining our economy. But it's like, the last administration left a dumpster fire. Hell, they left every dumpster on fire. So it's going to take a little while to put them out. And it's going to take a while for these tariffs to make sense to most people, because you're invested in the market. You're seeing the market drop, but you're invested in foreign markets. You're invested in minerals that are being acquired for our production in other markets in other countries. And what's going to happen is most of that infrastructure is going to be built here. And you've got the left that are crying about the fact, oh, we don't have these buildings and industries here, So what they're doing is just hurting America. No, they're not. We're forcing people to build their products here through the tariffs so that we get the jobs, we get the revenue, we get the income. It's built here with our minerals, and we don't have to worry about paying tariffs back to another country. But if they want to sell stuff to our country, then they still have to pay that tariff. So it's already been happening. There's been companies that are like, we want to avoid these tariffs. We're just going to start manufacturing in the United States. Now we need to shift the mineral reserve that they're using over to the United States. Now, once that takes place, and it will take time, like anything, that's going to make us a huge economic superpower. And if Canada ever wakes up and says, yeah, we'll join the United States, like I've said before, then they will no longer be a loft apartment over a really great party with a bunch of frowny-faced people. They will actually be part of the group, because we already protect your borders as it is. Our military bases that we have in your country, you rely on for protection. I mean, what do you guys, what's Canada going to do with their military? Throw snowballs at the enemy? It's just, I'm not mocking Canada's military. It's just that you rely a lot on us. So be the 51st state. Be an American. You know? If you don't like it, you can always move. It's just going to have to be to another continent. Because this whole continent will be ours. And yours. Don't get me wrong. And yours, Canada. Okay? Besides, you like our flag better and you know it. Yeah, that's what I was kind of pointing out, is that it messes up the community peace. So you're more focused on what's going to happen to the people flooding in, and if you're going to have to deal with their war, and that screws up, you know, towns. You get an influx of people, and now they're overrun by, you know, a population that they can't sustain with public facilities or public assistance. And you know, you can't leave them on the street because that's inhumane. But here in the United States, you know how many veterans are homeless? You know how many people that have, you know, suffered addiction are homeless? And a lot of it has to do with what's coming over the border. You know how many people have died because of the stuff coming over the border? Yeah. Well, you guys are all... I'll tell you right now, if I was president, it'd be it for most of the world. Take all the good people who want to be here, want to live a good life, a free life, and then the communist parties and all the other people who are wanting to go out and oppress, traffic, or destroy people just for power, I would just light them up like the 4th of July. So yes, DPC for president. Who would vote for me for president? Let's get some reactions in here. Hearts, if you'd vote for me for president. No hearts. Okay. Maybe it's just a delay. Maybe we'll see a few hearts. There's a couple. I got votes already. Let's get my name on the ballot, right? I'll clean it all up. And people would hate me for it. They always will. There's no I'm going to be honest. There's no sanity on the left. You know, when it's sad. It's kind of like John F. Kennedy. They knew it was going to happen. They planned it. And it's because he wouldn't follow along with their policies. Policies of a deep state that didn't want to show their face. So what does CNN do? They're the very first rally of Donald Trump that they televised live. The very first and only one that they ever televised live was the one where they had tried to assassinate him on camera. So that's got to tell you something right there. Trump, I'll give you my thoughts on Trump. I don't know him personally, so I don't know his personal viewpoints. But when you turn a country into a corporation, don't be surprised when a businessman knows how to run it. There's going to be ups, there's going to be downs. When you restructure a company, profits are down, people are getting laid off, and then the new infrastructure takes place, and then there's a lot more jobs, a lot more income, and a lot more revenue, and a bunch of happy stakeholders, which that's who we are, the stakeholders. So, yeah, you incorporate a country, hire a businessman to run it. And that businessman isn't afraid of other countries because he's dealt with them in business. So when he became leader of the free world, he basically said, this is the way things are going to be done. And to all you terrorists out there, watch out, I'm coming. And to all you illegals out there, watch out, I'm coming, because you are no longer going to exploit the United States of America. That's all there is to it. He went after the terrorists in Afghanistan the first term. What was the first thing he did? He dropped a Moab on one of the main places. You know how much of our money was going to terrorists, being funneled to terrorists through different organizations from our pockets? And just because they had somebody go and find it, they got pissed off about it because it was Elon Musk. And then you've got AOC, who's a bartender, telling a scientist that he doesn't understand the science. I doubt she can even make a freaking decent mojito. And she's trying to tell the world that Elon Musk doesn't know the science. Just blows my mind sometimes. You were looking for machinists, and I'm the only one you found. Oh man, well, I'm glad you're here. You know, right now we're just kind of chatting. If you want to get more to the technicals I was talking about earlier, then you'd have to kind of rewind. But I hope people get a chance to watch this live later on, because typically when I go live, I don't get a lot of viewers live. I get views afterwards, but never usually live. And I understand that's probably because of what time it is in different parts of the country, but I'm probably not wildly popular because of my views. And YouTube likes to remind me of it all the time. Well, that's just it. I'm not really making a criticism other than the fact that he's doing what he's supposed to do. He's a businessman. He knows how to run a business, and that's what the United States is right now. And everyone's going to say, well, what if he's a businessman? Why the stock's going down? I'm like, you're not understanding what's happening. The Fed will never drop the rate unless the market crashes out. You're not going to lose your volume. It's just going to lose value And if you hold the volume and don't jump ship, then that's going to go back up. Nobody wants to listen to that. So they're going to sell off thinking that they're going to lose money. And if you're invested in a foreign country and its manufacturing that we plan on bringing here, then you sell that off before the dip and then buy the dip once they start manufacturing here and watch it climb back up again. It's simple economics. But they think he's trying to destroy the economy or trying to take away Social Security and all that. None of that's happened. I'm on vet benefits. And I have not been affected by anything that Trump has done. Not once. As a matter of fact, I got my car registered for free and never have to pay for registration again because I'm a veteran. I didn't even know I could do that. The whole time I've been paying for registration, 20 years, and I didn't even know that I could get free registration for my vehicle because I'm a veteran. And I had no idea, and a lot of that is because we didn't go serve our country because we were expecting benefits afterwards. I went in because we were attacked on September 11th. That's why I joined the military. I was younger, and that was a war to remember. But I had to. I had to because if it had escalated beyond that, I had children to protect. I had family to protect. So I chose war. And that's why I went in. I didn't go in for a pension. I came out and didn't even realize that I was entitled to a whole bunch of stuff. I had no idea. Yes, I'm a veteran. I think everybody was affected by Biden. And he didn't get a lot of stuff right, and you and I both know he wasn't running the country. He was just a talking head. Anybody who can't even get gravity right and fall up the stairs, you think is going to actually be running the country? He wasn't running the country. He was a mouthpiece for Obama. You already know that. And Kamala Harris, she wasn't any smarter. The only reason why she got into politics was because she got on Willie back in the day. My profession right now is this. I'm an engineer, so I'm not working at any specific place currently, except what I am trying to develop here, which is DPC, or Drone Power Concepts, which I plan on being my business. And that's why I have larger projects that I haven't really put out there yet, because they're going to be part of my lineup of products that I'm going to be marketing when the time comes. The byproduct, though, is you get all this fun RC stuff. You'll get the STLs and components list off of Amazon, so you can do your own fans if you want to. As soon as I get it perfected, I don't want to send anything out there that's going to fail or not operate correctly. And I want to make sure you guys are safe, so I got to do it right. Here, 2 weeks after Trump got in, the gas prices went down 5%. See, that's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about. Even the economies of other nations know what benefit Trump is to the United States. Dawson, you're back again. Where'd you go, man? You were just here. I swear he's a time traveler. He's like probably jumping back and forth. Buck! How you doing? I'm Buck. I'm back. I'm Buck. Okay, I just got it. Okay, sorry. Ah. It's a good one, Buck. And always rely on Buck to come in with the off-the-wall stuff. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, my Instagram is on my page. Send me a message on there. I'll add you. And then, yeah, we can talk. I'm open to that. Well, I also have the Discord you can join as well, so that you can chat there with the rest of us turbo heads. You know, when it comes to what we're building, watch some gaming streams. You know, watch some build video logs, and look at the memes channel if you need a good laugh. That's what I'm trying to build. Is a community based around what I love to do, and that's create. And right now, I'm creating RC aircraft on a scale that I don't think anyone's ever seen before when it comes to designing your own engine. Yes, always welcome back, Dawson. He seems he gets lost sometimes and then comes back. Good. I will be looking for you on there and follow you back. Yeah, everybody show Dawson some love. There you go, Dawson. We're all glad you're back. So anyway, it is 3 o'clock my time, so it's probably time to wrap this up because my phone's probably gonna die. But we'll give you a real quick. Yes, I do play games. I'm actually planning on possibly streaming Hunt Showdown tonight. I have to get back into it. I was really good when it was on Xbox, but I'm not that good on PC right now. So they're gonna watch. I'm not gonna make it through even one match. I might, but it'll be fun to watch. So in a couple hours, we'll be doing that. I'll make sure I set up a notification. So I don't know why people aren't getting notified of the lives. So I'm gonna try and schedule it a couple hours out so that everyone knows that it's coming. So we can play some Hunt Showdown. It's gonna be fun. I'm just an aeronautics engineer. Right now, my bachelor's is industrial engineering. I don't know why I'm looking at your chat because you're up here. So my bachelor's is in industrial engineering. My master's is going to be in avionics, aerospace, that kind of stuff. So, and then of course I have my own designs already that didn't require school. It just, to be honest with you, half the stuff that I learned before I went in for my degree was on the internet. So, which was surprising to me at first, the wealth of information that you can glean from the internet if you're looking in the right spot, especially if you're looking to be educated for free. All you gotta do is do the right kind of searches. And then I think about the fact that I was alive before the internet even existed. And me and my pet T-Rex had to figure things out on our own. So, yes, I'm that old. And my phone, you had to actually pick it up off the hook from the wall and dial the rotary, the rotary phone. That's why kids nowadays don't understand when you tell them to get off the phone. You're like, hang up the phone. And they're like, hang it up. Hang it up where? No, because we meant hang up the phone. We actually had to hang up the phone. So, Why am I looking behind me? Yeah. Yeah, it is a nice pipe. Howdy, Dracula. Welcome to the channel. I assume Dracula doesn't have a Russian accent. My apologies. So you are Vlad the Impaler then? I prefer books, but I prefer listening to them. It's the only way I can sleep. Just words on paper, like in the olden days. It's actually kind of intriguing. You can sort of get into it more. It doesn't hurt your eyes so much. I have no freaking clue what he just asked. And I'm not going to repeat the question because you're all capable of reading. Okay, Dracula, you've had your fun. Go back to your coffin. Oh man, you got Stacy mad. Don't do that. I might be live tomorrow. I'm not sure. It just depends on. I'll probably be printing a lot, so I might do a live on that. We'll see what happens. Oh, be careful, Dracula. Be careful. You don't know who it is you're speaking to. Yeah, I knew you were a troll from the beginning. I'm not upset about it. But why would a troll be upset at somebody trolling back? That's the question. I don't care if anyone responds to you. Let them respond. Be a troll if you want to. Just understand that Stacy is my wife. And I will reach through this internet and slap the bitch off your face. So do me a favor and show some respect. But troll all you want. None of this shit hurts my feelings. I doubt it even bothers her. But she does like to respond to you guys. Because you take the bait. You take your own bait that you put out there. I'm not upset, actually. I'm just dead serious. Yeah, your anguish sustains me. Well, I can't just build one right out of it. I've got to get some parts to make one happen. But yeah, I'll make another one. I'll plan for another one. I actually have planned on a 90mm version of the Shrike. Because that was 70 mils. Which was good, but the amp draw was too high. Lower kV motor, larger blade, more lift. less amps, easier to control heat. So crippling depression. Love how it says, my name's Jeff. How's it going, buddy? I haven't seen you in a while. How many guns do I have? That's none of your business. You break into my house, you're gonna find out. Let's see. Am I reading a story here? Hold on. Oh, that's very interesting. I'll go to bed, man. If you got a test like that coming up, why are you watching me? Get some sleep. The progress on the fan. Well, you haven't been around for a little while, so hold on a second. It's getting bigger. It's like a mogwai. I fed it after midnight. Now it's 340 millimeters. I'm still printing the stator casing for the hub bearings. So, yeah, a lot of printing left, but we're getting there. That's going to be a fun one to test. Yeah, that's a big one. Did Dracula go back to his coffin? I think I scared him. That one is probably gonna, I don't even know. The calculations said a ridiculous amount, but I kind of have to go with them. And we're looking at about 550 pounds per engine. Lots of thrust. But real world expectations, I'm going to give it a 200 to 250 pound thrust estimate. We're gonna run the tests on a load sensor, hopefully, and get a good reading. And the RPMs, you don't need very many RPMs with a fan this size, so the 6,000 RPM mark is where I'm headed for. Anything past that, and you're pushing it. Well, yeah, I mean, it sounds like a lot, but it's a 22 blade high pass, so it's got a lot of thrust potential. Oh man, the exam is coming. That's a good one. 250 pounds conservatively on the thrust, but the static thrust estimates were 550. But I'm going for real world stuff. I'm trying to be practical about it. I don't think I'm going to push this thing past half throttle on the first run, just because I'm going to get an endurance run off the batteries, check temperatures, check RPMs. I built an RPM sensor, did a short on that, using some Arduino parts I had laying around. And I am going to put up a heat sensor inside the ductwork if I can to monitor motor temps. But we do have something that will give us, we have an amp meter that will give us our kilowatts, it'll give us our amps being pulled, it'll give us our watt hours, it'll give us everything we need while I'm running that next to the RPM. So we can kind of look and see what our power draw is and our amps at 48 volts, plus the RPMs right next to it. So we'll be able to see the amps scale with the RPMs, which will give me a really good idea of how the motor is performing. Well, just get some good rest though, gal, and do your test. Study for it, and then give your brain a break the night before. The interesting thing about studying is if you give yourself time afterwards, you won't even realize how much of it is written into your unconscious memory, and you recall it. You're like, oh, I know this one, but you got to give your brain time to rest, because if you're studying all the way up to the test, you're still processing information, and your brain needs a full night's rest to reconcile all of those memories and turn them into, make the neural connections to keep it in memory. Kind of like, when you automatically know how to play piano, for example. It's one of the things. You're not stressed playing the piano because you just tried to learn it. You're playing it because you know it. You've already studied it, you know it, and you're relaxed. So you have access to everything once the questions come up. So give your brain time to rest and absorb what you've studied so that you can form those neural connections that are going to help you during that test. And then go in there relaxed, knowing that you already know what you're going to do. And do the test, do your best, and be happy with it. That's all you got to do. What's your idea on the metal parts? Are you talking about like a lost wax casting kind of deal? Are you using a 3D print? Are you asking if you want to do a Muslim prayer in the chat? Is that what you're asking? I want to be sure I'm understanding you correctly. Because I'm not Muslim. I'm Christian. But everyone's entitled to their opinion. And if you feel like you want to pray for his test, then I encourage it. Everyone's free here to say what they need to say. Even Dracula, who seemed to have bailed on us when his troll didn't work. That was funny. Trolls don't last long here. Oh, I see where you're going with this. Oh, that's not a bad idea. Hydroform the blade? That would make it lightweight, for sure. With the mold, of course. Yeah, we could do hydroforming. That might actually work. Yeah, I think it could work. You just have to make sure that the pressure you're putting in, the mold can handle. So you want to make sure that you're not just using, I mean, it would have to be a solid infill on the mold. And then I would encase that in some kind of steel plating that you bolt together before you attempt to hydroform something like that. And just make sure that you got to figure out the expansion on the metal, and then you have to figure out a way to let the pressure release once it's reached the expansion, the actual pressure that's necessary for the expansion. And then once it's expanded, then it's finished when that valve releases. So you get a variable valve that's set to release a specific specific pressure. The pressure of all being calculated by the tensile strength of the material you're putting into the hydroform, and then of course the elasticity of the material. So you have to take that into consideration before doing it, but it is doable. And you want to make sure that if you are doing this as a single piece or a welded piece, that the tensile strength of all that can handle it. Now we know that hydroforming spherical objects is easy and that the welds can handle it. But we are talking about sharper edges that you're trying to hydroform. So depending on the size of the blade, it could be done, but you wouldn't know necessarily how rigid the blade would be. If you're talking about leaving it hollow, that's one thing. If you're talking about filling it afterwards with something, then that's another. So it might be a good way to make a blade shell and then be able to dynamically balance it with the same way they balance tires with car beads. So, there's little glass beads or even metal beads in this instance, or metal powder would help with a hydroformed hollow self-balancing blade in a sense. Right. Okay. Yeah, resin would work better, I think. That's a good, and it would also save you on filament. That's a good idea. Might be worth a shot. Let's see what happens. I can send you one of the blade profile. I mean, I don't know what program you're using, but you can have an STL form. I'll send you one of the blades off because this one's designed obviously to where the blades slide into the hub. So I'll send you a blade STL, and you can experiment with it and see how it works. Just shoot me an email on my bio. Mention the subject so I don't forget, because my brain will go everywhere else but there if you don't. And then I'll shoot you over an STL for that blade, and then it'll give you something to work with. You're gonna light up, and then you're gonna light up and say it because you're delusional? You're gonna have to elaborate on that one because I don't know what you're talking about. Give me a one moment, please. I need to check the battery on that thing. Oh yeah, we're just about at the end of this live stream, just for the simple fact that I don't have a decent camera that plugs into a power port. I just have a cell phone. And I need a power bar closer so I can plug it in, which I don't have. Which is why I'm using a battery pack for my lights, but it isn't enough for that phone, so. Ah, France. Yes, France. Have a good night over there in France. Give me a good picture of the Eiffel Tower. Sometimes things are just funny to say. You have a good night, Jeff. My name's Jeff. Good night. Well, one of these days you probably can get a good view of it. Send me a picture. I'll send you a logo with my name of my channel, and then YouTube at the bottom, and just go up to the top and let it drape all the way down the tower. Let's get some subs from France, you know. They'll subscribe and check it out just to see what the heck's going on and why Jeff was arrested. Hey, don't worry about it, man. I've been here my whole life, and I'm still working on English. It keeps changing. Now, apparently, no cap means I'm not lying. On God means the truth, I guess. I'm not sure. It's all confusing. And then some of them are they're just making noises, and I don't even know what the crap they're saying. Then they act like, then they get angry. Like, you know, like I've offended them because I don't understand the fact that they couldn't speak the language as so much as chew it up and spit it out. And I'm talking about people that were born here, taking on the inflections of a toaster, and then like just, you know, spitting it out like the gangs and stuff around here, you know. But I mean, they're all mostly talk, you know. You just can't understand them. I know that because I had a couple trespass on some property and ripped down one of my security cameras. I flashbanged the shit out of them with a 37 mil, and they didn't like that very much. So one of them starts to walk, underneath the fence line towards me because he's mad because I flashbanged him, and I was already loaded up and ready to go. It's like, you feeling froggy? Go for it. I'll put a sandbag right in your freaking neck. All right, y'all. Let's do a wraparound closeout real quick because this battery's gonna die. We have the ship, we have the painting, we have that, we have that, we have that, we have that, we have that. I'm just kidding. No. I appreciate everyone that has shown up today. I hope you enjoyed the live. There's going to be a lot more work going on, especially with this fan, as you compare its size to its little brother over there. And I'm excited to see what happens within the coming weeks as far as getting the testing rig set up and everything else set up. And hopefully I'll get a lit sign eventually. I would love a neon one. That'd be awesome. Get some more like cool lights in here so I can come in here and rave. I don't rave. It's a joke. I don't even know how to rave. I'm 49 years old, man. I sneeze and I lose a vertebrae. So there's no raving going on here. I'll tell you that right now. But I want to thank you all for stopping by. I appreciate it. Make sure you subscribe, share it with your friends. Make sure that you hit the bell for notifications if the notifications ever decide to work properly. And I hope to see you all again in the comments of my future videos and the shorts and the next live. You've all been wonderful. Thank you all. Love you. And I will see you again soon.